I have some bad news and good news for you. The bad news is that most startups, most small businesses, don't understand financial statements. And they're a leading cause of mistakes and business failure. In fact, most small business people who get to the 5-year mark look back and say that the number one thing they wish they could do differently is to have learned how to read their financial statements at the beginning. The good news is that it's very easy to do, as I'll show you right now. As we've gone through these lessons, we've been creating and updating these 4 areas: owed to me, owed by me, sales, and expenses. I'd like to do a very quick recap of all the transactions to show you how they come together to create the financial statements almost by magic. The first thing we did is invoice Mary $640 and of course $32 worth of tax payable. And these two things added up to accounts receivable of $672. Mary then paid us. She sent us a check which brought our accounts receivable down to 0 and put $672 into our undeposited, and then a couple of days later we went to the bank and deposited. So that brought this down to 0 and put $672 in the bank. We then created an invoice for Frank's Hardware, a total of $1,650 for services and $76.50 in sales taxes for a total accounts receivable of $1,726.50. We then got an invoice from the lawyers. They charged us $400 for legal services, and on top of that they charged us $20 in sales tax, and in Canada that sales tax of $20 gets removed from the sales tax payable. Now the total of the $400 legal and the $20 in sales tax means that we owe $420 in accounts payable. When we paid that by check, it brought the amount that we owe down to 0, but it reduced the amount of cash from $672 down to $252. And at the end of the month, we did a bank reconciliation and learned that the bank was going to charge us $15 service fee, which they immediately take off our account. So this $252 goes down to $237. So let's do a little subtotaling here. So total sales is equal to $2,290. Total expenses, of course, is $415. And if we subtract the $2,290 from the $415, we end up with $1,875, otherwise known as profit. And on our owed by me, the total over here is $1,963.50. There's 0 in accounts payable. Let me just clean up this sales tax here. So we owe a total of $88.50 in sales taxes, and so the total that we owe overall is $88.50. Now, this is starting to look suspiciously like a set of financial statements. Let me show you. The whole right side of our chalkboard was actually a profit and loss, otherwise known as an income statement. So here you see our sales of $22.90, and there's the bank charges and the legal fees, and there's our profit of $18.75. And the left side of our chalkboard was almost a full balance sheet. There's our undeposited funds, the $237 in our checking account, the accounts receivable from Frank's Hardware, and there's our sales tax payable. The only piece that wasn't on the left side of our board was down at the bottom here, the profit for the year, which simply comes over from here, like that. And then, of course, that piece then makes our balance sheet balance, which is that our total assets, or the things that people owe us or that we own, is equal to the total liabilities and equity. Now there's one other financial statement that I'd like to introduce. It's not that revealing in this month because it's very simple. However, I'd like to introduce it to you, and I think you should start to learn it because it will tell you things as months go by and things get more complicated. It's called the statement of cash flows, and here's how it works. It starts off with the profit from your income statement or your profit and loss, and then tells you that you should have had this much cash, except that $1,726 was not paid by your customer and is waiting in accounts receivable, and you would have paid this $88.50 in sales tax payable, but you're holding off till next month, and therefore this equals $237 in cash, which then starts off the top of your balance sheet. Well, congratulations. That's a busy month of firsts, and you deserve a break, but not a long one. Remember, you've got a business to run.